Can we name one small change that we'd love to see a venue or an arts organization engage with to help create a more welcoming environment for you as writers right now?
It is, I think one thing is that I will take from a personal example over the years many times, is that someone's gone, we love your work, we've read your work, we love your work. We're going to give you one Monday a week for 3 weeks. And I'm like, but we expect you to pay the actors because you're the writer stroke producer. You're going to pay all of your actors and all of your lighting and the sparks and all the technical crew. And we're going to, by the way, require £1,000, per week or around that fund. Writers are not producers. We're not executive producers, and we don't have that kind of cash. So what happens is that somebody throws us an opportunity and we have to turn it down. And I've seen that again and again and again and again with lots of small writing troops and small theatre troops, is that they can't even take the opportunities up that they're given. And that's why one of the reasons why they remain emerging. I think that's a really big thing. We need to look at funding. And small theatres and such with levels of funding need to put their money where their mouth is. That's my thought.
I think that offering and sharing their resources, which I don't think comes at much of a cost, like some of the best practices that I've seen and theatres that I've had the pleasure and honour working with will offer free desk space. They'll have empty tables. I mean, heating is such a big thing now. So actually work somewhere that's heated. You would have thought, last year was like a ridiculous thing to say, but the reality is working from home actually can be really uncomfortable. Offering tickets to writers that they're interested in, they might not work with in a couple of years, but inviting them to those press nights, so that they can maintain those relationships. They can have a space where they can network and meet sort of other industry professionals to help them develop their work. It gives the writer a lot of confidence, because I think when you're writing, it's quite an isolated experience unless you have a writing partner or you're working in a writer's room, and it can feel really lonely.
If I could name a small change for that a venue or arts organization could do to help create a welcoming environment to writers, that would be the same thing I would suggest to anyone from any department who's freelance brought onto a job or a process, which is to ask everyone their access requirements from the start, if they're disabled or non-disabled. Because that way, if you do that on a case-by-case basis, and it seems like a little thing, but it can have really big results. That way you don't have to have people out their disability. If they have a disability, people may not want to disclose this. Personally, I'm fine talking about mine because I'm no problem talking about it. But not everyone is, and everyone has access requirements. So more access for disabled writers, more access for disabled people, and non-disabled people, non-disabled creatives. That means better access for everybody, whether that's in terms of planning or development, delivery.
It'd be really nice to print a sign that you hand out to everybody, every member that's dealing with the administrative element of dealing with playwrights and people, and just have a sign above their phone saying there are no stupid questions.
I guess a small change, I was just thinking about it then, and I thought, people could smile more, but that sounds like weird. But it's only because it can be maybe a little bit scary sometimes to even look on websites and see people's job titles. And so even if there was everybody did a little video just saying hi and then telling us what their favorite packet of crisps were or whatever, or even when they're doing their big CV kind of thing or talking about their role, they could put something maybe about themselves as well in there, in terms of who they are outside of their work, just so it gives us a flavour of who they are, and then it makes them feel a bit more approachable, I guess.
I think that sounds great. And I think it's so generous to hear these small changes from each of you. And it's so helpful to be reminded how quickly those small changes can become strategic changes, can have big impact for so many of us. And also, I think so important to be reminded that these changes are not all for those of us who have access needs, that they are for everyone, that access is for everyone. And that's a theme that has really resonated throughout the conversation today that I think is so important to be stated over and over again. Well, I'd like to take this moment to thank each and every one of the Wellspring writers who've joined us for this video. Your voices and your talents are unique and incredible, and we are very, very lucky to have this conversation with you. Thank you for your generosity and sharing your vision for the theater, your hopes for the future, and your opinions on these topics and where we are at right now in the arts. Thank you so much for this conversation and this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.